Hello, I'm Glenn Della-Monica, and I teach ShopBot here at MakeIt Labs in Nashua. The ShopBot is this wonderful machine behind me. It's a router. Now, why does a router need a 12-foot long and 5-foot wide table? Well, this thing can route an entire sheet of plywood with room to spare, and you never touch the router. It's completely controlled by the computer. That means that you can do things with far more accuracy than you could do with a handheld router. You can do complex projects, projects that have grooves that fit into each other, designs, lettering. Today we're just going to do some simple lettering. So let me show you how the ShopBot works. The ShopBot has a router spindle. There are two motors that control backwards and forwards and right and left. There's another motor that controls up and down. So you've got the x-axis, the y-axis, and the z-axis. This thing knows exactly where it is all the time, and that's because the computer tracks every tenth of a millimeter. So it's very, very accurate. Now, in order to get this thing to work, you've got to use the ShopBot software. But the ShopBot software is no good without some input. The input can come from a number of sources. You can use any CNC program. You can use SolidWorks. You can use Fusion 360. But what we use here, and only, is something called Vectric. What we've got here is VCarve by Vectric. Vectric is the company that produced this software. Vectric and VCarve allow you to draw just about anything you want to draw. You can also import things. So you can import files. You can create things right on the spot. The reason for doing this is that the machine doesn't understand a drawing. It doesn't understand a drawing at all. If you tell it to go from here to here and there's something in between, the machine's just going to go right through if you just have a drawing. What VCarve does is it creates a set of paths. The paths are what the machine follows. The paths include how fast you want to cut through your material so you don't overload it, or waste time, how wide your tool is and what shape your tool is. It's very important. So all of that is created on the other side of this program. We've got the left side and the right side. So if we wanted to draw a letter here, I can simply write some text. And let's make that a little smaller here. Going to close that out. Now I can click on text, and you can see how easy it is to create text. Now let's convert that text over to something that we can actually carve. I'm going to click on the text here, and I'm going to click what they call VCarve. Very appropriate. And I'm going to pick a tool. And because I'm just doing small text, I don't need to use a clearance. If I was going to cut text in the bottom of a tray that's that big by that big, and I was trying to use a V-shaped bit, it would take forever. So you can add tools to flatten things out, flatten out all the waste space. I'm going to do a calculate. And you can see what we just wrote in as text is now carved into the wood. The machine knows exactly how to carve it. Now, if you see a check mark in the word pass, that happens to be, if you take the class, That's what you will carve at the end of the class to show you know how to use the machine. And that's how we know you've passed. Very simple. The nice thing about vCarve Pro is because we're a makerspace, you can take the program home with you, load it onto your computer, download it, and use your MakeIt Labs email and sign up to use it. You can create a file at home, so you could actually create this at home. However, you can't export the machine language that the ShopBot needs. To do that, you have to bring your program here to MakeIt Labs, open it on this machine. That'll verify that it's a paid Makerspace edition program, and it'll allow you to run it. So I'm going to close that out, and I'm going to save this. Now, if you take a look on the left-hand side, you can see that you can draw, you can import. If I wanted to import a file, I could import a bitmap, 3D model, all sorts of things. You can manipulate them here. You can create. You can turn a bitmap image into a toolpath. You can draw circles, ellipses, all sorts of shapes. You can transform objects. You can rotate them. You can align them. You can cut parts of them off. There's a ton of things you can do in vCarve. We don't teach them all, however, because that would be about a 16-week class. What we do teach you how to do is operate the machine safely, how to cut parts properly that come out the way you want them to look, and how to do it efficiently. So we teach you the basics of how to use the machine. You don't have to get into all the complex bits, although there are a few fiddly bits you need to learn, like how to set the speed of the tool. But that's fairly simple. It's just a lot to learn in one day, and it's a 9-hour course. So let's save this. We're going to go over to from the drawing side over here to the toolpath side over here. And you notice we've created vCarve 3 here. We're going to save this to an ordinary USB. Now, if you notice, it just contacted vCarve to see if it's okay. vCarve said it was fine, so we have now copied all of our toolpaths. I'm going to give it an extra second. Usually I use a USB with a light on it that tells me when it's done. So I'm going to pop this out, and now we're going to go over to the other side of our work area here. This is the main ShopBot screen. We've got the position window over here that tells us that the machine is zeroed out for X and Y. I've already zeroed out the Z so that it's now set at 1 inch. And all these interesting settings up here are useless except for this one. The only one we use is cuts, except to cut things. So we've already done the spindle warm-up. We've already homed the X and Y. We've already zeroed the Z axis, that's the up and down. So what we're going to do now is find the part that we just did, and it was called checkmark. So we're going to open checkmark, and I'm going to press start. The correct tool is in the spindle. The Z-axis has been zeroed. Now I press the green button, and you can hear that winding up. I'm going to hit OK. And as you can see, it's cutting the box for the check mark. Now, I've eliminated a few steps for the video. I didn't include warming up the machine. I didn't include zeroing the X and Y and Z axes. I didn't go over how to insert the tool. Those are all fairly simple things that we teach in the class. Now it's starting to do the letters. You can tell that the letters take a lot longer than the box. You have to remember that each part of each letter is a separate movement for the computer. I'm going to shut it off. And it's going to come to a stop in a minute. All right, if you noticed, I stopped it earlier, and I told you that the machine knows exactly where it's at. And although I stopped it, it's going to come back to exactly where it is. I ran a little test on the check mark, but it went from where we stopped the first cut right to where it needs to make the second cut. And because it's a V-bit, it can actually make square corners as it lifts up towards the end. That's how the check mark can be to a nice sharp point at the back. And we're back to 0, 0. So that's how the ShopBot works. As I said, I left out a bunch of things, how to mount the tool in there. It's fairly straightforward. But you get an idea of how the ShopBot actually performs. You create a file on vCarve. You transfer the file using a USB to the computer that drives this machine. Once it's loaded in here, you zero the machine, you make sure that it's set at the right height, you turn the machine on, and it does all the rest. And that's the ShopBot.